Everybody wants to win, but not everybody wants to work for it. Too many folks spend their days whining about what they don't have, why life's unfair, and how nothing ever goes their way. But let me ask you something. Has whining ever moved you forward? Has complaining ever cashed a check or built a legacy? The truth is, whining might feel good in the moment, but it keeps you stuck. If you're serious about success, if you're hungry for change, then it's time to stop feeling sorry for yourself and start doing something. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the work you keep avoiding. Complaining wastes energy that could be used for progress. The more time you spend talking about what's wrong, the less time you spend doing something about it. It feels easy to complain. It gives you a sense of release, like you're letting off steam. But that momentary relief doesn't solve the problem, and it definitely doesn't move you forward. You've got to realize that every ounce of energy you spend whining is energy you're not using to create a solution, build a skill, make a move, or grow. Time and energy are two things you don't get back, and if you're spending them both running your mouth about the problem, you're just digging yourself deeper into it. The people who win in life aren't the ones with perfect circumstances. They're not the ones who never face struggle. They're the ones who learn to redirect their energy. When things don't go right, they don't sit around and mope. They ask, what can I do with what I have right now? That's the key. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about recognizing the issue, feeling it for a moment, and then turning your focus toward action. That's the difference between being stuck and starting progress. It's easy to confuse talking about your struggles with working through them, but venting and progressing are not the same thing. One keeps you in the same space, the other moves you forward. The more you complain, the more your mind becomes wired to find what's wrong, to expect problems, to feel defeated before you even begin. And once you train your brain to operate from that space, it becomes a habit, a dangerous one. Because now, even when opportunities show up, you're too busy whining to recognize them. You sabotage your own success because you're stuck in the comfort of complaint. Progress requires a shift. It means saying, I don't like this situation, but I'm going to do something about it. It means using the same breath you would have used to complain to speak life, speak faith, speak direction. Instead of saying, I can't catch a break, say, I'm going to make my own break. Instead of, nothing ever works out, say, this is just a step in the process. Language matters. Energy matters. Focus matters. Where your energy goes, your future grows. So if you keep feeding frustration, that's what you'll keep getting. Think about the energy it takes to keep complaining. Think about the people you call just to vent. Think about how long you stay in your feelings instead of in your purpose. Now imagine what would happen if you use that same energy to build, to plan, to apply for something better, to train, to learn, to grow. That energy could transform your life, but only if you redirect it. You're not weak for feeling frustrated. You're human. But don't park there. Don't pitch a tent in your problems. Get up. Reclaim your energy. Use it like fuel. Let your pain drive your progress. Let your disappointments teach you how to rise. Turn your setbacks into setups. Stop using your voice to describe the problem. Start using it to declare the solution. You don't get to win by accident. It takes strategy. It takes faith. And it takes movement. Whining keeps you in the same chapter. Progress flips the page. You've got a choice to make every single day. Spend your energy complaining or use it to create a different outcome. But don't get it twisted. You can't do both. You've got to pick a side. And the moment you stop whining and start winning, that's when your life begins to change. Winners focus on solutions, not struggles. That's one of the biggest differences between people who succeed and people who stay stuck. It's not that winners don't face problems. They do. They just don't let the problem become the center of their lives. They don't let it paralyze them. While most people are busy talking about how hard things are, winners are busy asking, what can I do about it? That question alone puts you on a different level. It changes your direction because your focus determines your outcome. If you keep staring at the struggle, that's all you'll see. But if you shift your eyes toward the solution, you'll start seeing options, opportunities, and ways out. Too often, people get addicted to the drama of their struggle. They start identifying with it like it's who they are. I've always been broke. My life is just hard. Nothing good ever happens for me. They repeat these lines so often, it becomes their truth. But the truth is, your struggle is just a chapter. It's not the whole story. And the only way to move past it is to stop giving it all your energy and attention. Start asking better questions. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, how come I never win? Ask, what can I do today to move closer to a win? That simple shift can change everything. The brain is a powerful thing. Whatever you feed it, it multiplies. If you constantly feed it complaints, it'll give you more things to complain about. But if you train it to search for solutions, it will begin to focus on progress. That doesn't mean life will be perfect. It just means you won't stay stuck every time something goes wrong. You'll develop the habit of forward thinking. You'll develop the strength to act when others would just sulk. That's what winners do. They act, they move, they build. Even when it's hard. Even when they're scared. They keep pushing because they understand one powerful truth: solutions are found in motion, not in mourning. Think about the greats. Think about the people who came from nothing and built empires, careers, legacies. They didn't have perfect conditions. They had the same struggles most people do. Poverty, loss, fear, rejection, doubt. But they made a choice to focus forward. They didn't deny the pain. They just didn't let it dominate their lives. They took their pain and used it as motivation. They got resourceful. They asked the hard questions. They didn't waste time looking for sympathy. They looked for strategy. And that's what separated them from the crowd. Focusing on the solution doesn't mean you ignore your emotions. It means you process them and then you pivot. You feel the weight, but you don't let it break you. You cry if you need to, but then you wipe your face and get back to building. Life is going to test you, no doubt. But how you respond will always be more important than what you go through. Winners respond with action, with resilience, with vision. They refuse to let the problem define the path. Instead, they use it to define their strength. So the next time life throws you a curveball, check your focus. Are you replaying the struggle, or are you writing the solution? Are you using your energy to complain, or are you using it to climb? Winners don't waste energy on what they can't change. They pour it into what they can build. That's how they rise. That's how they win. Not because the struggle disappeared, but because they chose to outgrow it, outwork it, and outlast it. You can't control everything, but you can control your effort. Life has a funny way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. Some things will blindside you. Loss, betrayal, setbacks, sickness, failure. That's just part of the journey. No one walks through life untouched. But here's the deal. Even though you can't choose everything that happens to you, you can always choose how you respond. You don't control the storm, but you do control whether you stand up in it or let it drown you. And that power, that control over your own effort, is exactly what separates the winners from the quitters. Effort is something no one can take from you. People might strip you of opportunities, money, or support. They may doubt you, talk about you, or walk away from you. But they can't stop you from showing up and giving your all. That's your power. That's your responsibility. Winners don't wait for perfect conditions. They make the best of what they have. They understand that effort is the one thing they can give every single day, no matter what's going on around them. It might not be flashy. It might not get applause, but it builds results over time. And while others are waiting for motivation, winners rely on discipline. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it today?" They ask, "What needs to be done?" The truth is, life isn't fair. Some people get a head start. Others have to climb uphill from the beginning. But effort is the great equalizer. It can't erase all the challenges, but it levels the field over time. When you show up with consistency and fire, even if the odds are stacked against you, you create chances that didn't exist before. You open doors that were shut. You carve paths where there were none. That's the power of effort. It makes the impossible possible when you refuse to quit. A lot of folks get stuck because they're too focused on what they can't control. They worry about the economy, their upbringing, what other people think, or how long it's taking to get ahead. But all that energy spent worrying is energy you could be spending grinding. You don't need to control the whole picture. You just need to own your part. You need to show up, give 100%, and let the chips fall where they may. Because even if the outcome ain't what you wanted, you'll know you didn't cheat yourself. You'll know you left it all on the table. And that kind of effort always builds character, confidence, and credibility. Sometimes effort doesn't show results right away. That's where most people quit. They say, "I've been working hard and nothing's changing." But winners know the truth. Just because you don't see the harvest yet doesn't mean the seeds aren't growing. You've got to keep watering, keep showing up, keep giving your all, even when it feels like nothing's moving. Because breakthrough doesn't always come with a warning. It shows up after months or even years of hidden effort. One day, what felt like a slow grind becomes a sudden rise. So don't let what you can't control become an excuse to do nothing. Instead, double down on what you can do. Show up early, stay late. Practice more. Speak life, push through. Whether you win today or not, your effort builds momentum. And momentum turns into opportunity. Opportunity becomes success. But it all starts with a simple choice: do the work. Not once, not when it's easy, but every day. Because your consistency, your effort, and your drive, that's what sets you apart in a world full of people waiting for something to happen. You want to win. Then take control of what's yours. And that starts with your effort. Consistency beats excuses every time. Excuses are easy. They roll off the tongue like second nature when life gets hard. I'm too tired. I don't have time. I'll start tomorrow. But while excuses feel comfortable in the moment, they don't do a single thing to move you forward. They don't pay the bills, build the dream, or change your situation. Excuses keep you exactly where you are, stuck, frustrated, and wishing for more. Consistency, on the other hand, is where real growth lies. It's not about doing something once in a while when it's convenient. It's about showing up over and over, especially when it's hard. You see, motivation is unpredictable. It comes and goes like the wind. Some days, you wake up ready to take on the world. Other days, you don't even want to get out of bed. That's normal. But if you only work on your goals when you feel good, you'll never build anything real. Winners don't rely on feelings, they rely on discipline. They create routines, rituals, and non-negotiables. Whether it's raining or shining, whether they feel inspired or not, they show up. That's what makes them different. They understand that small efforts repeated daily beat intense efforts done occasionally. Consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you keep your word, you strengthen your belief in your own ability. You build confidence. You create a foundation. And when things get tough, and they always will, you've already trained yourself to keep going. Excuses, on the other hand, do the opposite. They break trust. They weaken your belief. They make you feel powerless. And once you start letting yourself off the hook, it becomes a habit. A dangerous one. Because it teaches your brain that giving up is an option. Think about it. Every excuse is a moment stolen from your future. Every time you choose comfort over consistency, you delay your destiny. The people who make it to the top didn't have fewer reasons to quit. They just had stronger reasons to keep going. They made a decision to outwork their excuses, to keep moving even when they were tired, broke, discouraged, or doubted. They understood that real success doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from hundreds of small decisions stacked up day after day. Consistency also creates momentum, and momentum is powerful. Once you get moving, staying in motion gets easier. Habits form, results start to show, and those results become fuel. But the hardest part is always the beginning, when you're doing the work and not seeing much progress. That's where most people quit. They think it's not working. But what they don't realize that the breakthrough is right around the corner. And if they had just stayed consistent a little longer, they would have hit it. There will always be a reason not to do it. Life will always give you something to complain about, to worry over, or to use as a reason to take a break. But you've got to be stronger than your excuses. You've got to decide that your future matters more than your comfort. That your dream is worth more than your distractions. You don't have to be the best. You just have to keep going when others stop. You have to show up one more day, one more rep, one more hour. Excuses sound good. They sound logical. They sound justified. But they never change your life. Consistency, though, it changes everything. It makes the impossible possible. It turns goals into accomplishments. It makes you proud of who you see in the mirror. So when that voice creeps in telling you it's okay to quit, remind yourself excuses won't get you there. But consistency will. Every time. Success doesn't come from comfort. It's born in discomfort. Growth never happens inside your comfort zone. It happens when you're stretched, when you're challenged, when life pulls you into places you've never been before. That's where the transformation begins. But most people want success without the struggle. They want the win without the work. They want the reward without the risk. And it just doesn't work like that. If you're not willing to get uncomfortable, you're not ready to grow. Because everything you want, every dream, every breakthrough, every blessing, it's sitting just outside your comfort zone, waiting for you to step up. Discomfort is the training ground of champions. It teaches you how to adapt, how to hustle, how to dig deep. When things are easy, you don't build muscle, you coast. But when things get hard, that's when your character gets shaped. That's when you discover what you're really made of. Discomfort exposes weakness, yes, but it also builds strength. You learn to push past fear. You learn to operate in uncertainty. And most importantly, you learn that you can survive what you thought would break you. That realization alone gives you a power no comfort zone can ever offer. Think about it. When have you grown the most in your life? Was it during the easy seasons? Or was it in the fire, when everything was uncertain, when you had to stretch, hustle, grind, and figure things out? Most people, when they look back, realize their best growth came from their hardest times. That struggle forced them to level up. That pressure shaped them into something greater. And yet, when new challenges come, they try to run from it. But if you want to keep growing, you've got to get used to walking into the discomfort on purpose. Now don't get it twisted. Discomfort doesn't mean chaos. It means challenge. It means doing the thing you've been avoiding, making the call, having the hard conversation, starting the business, getting up earlier, investing in your growth, practicing more, taking the risk. It's choosing to lean into what's difficult because you know what's on the other side. And it's trusting that you'll figure it out along the way. Winners are not fearless. They just refuse to let fear make their decisions. They feel the fear and they move anyway. They get uncomfortable again and again until discomfort becomes their normal. There's no progress without resistance. You can't build muscle without lifting something heavy. You can't grow in wisdom without making some mistakes. You can't become who you're meant to be without walking through some fire. So stop waiting for things to get easier. Instead, start getting stronger. Train yourself to do the hard things. Because once you make a habit of leaning into discomfort, it stops controlling you. You realize you're capable of more than you ever imagined. Not because it got easier, but because you got tougher. Discomfort also unlocks creativity. It forces you to think different, act different, and solve problems in ways you never had to before. That's why so many breakthrough ideas are born from struggle, not from sitting on the couch waiting for inspiration. When your back is against the wall, when comfort is gone, that's when the fire in you gets lit. That's when you find your drive, your edge, your real strength. And that fire, that's the very thing that will push you past average into excellence. So the next time life gets uncomfortable, don't run, don't shrink, don't complain. Embrace it. Step into it. Let it teach you, grow you, and mold you. Because everything you're dreaming about is sitting right on the other side of that comfort zone. You want to win. Then get used to being uncomfortable. That's where the real winners are made. Not in the ease, not in the safe zone, but in the heat, the hustle, the grind. That's where success is born. Winners focus on solutions, not problems. It's easy to get caught up in what's wrong. Life is full of challenges, financial struggles, broken relationships, lost opportunities, health issues, and moments when everything feels like it's falling apart. Most people spend all their energy complaining about these problems. They sit around asking, why me? Or blaming others for where they are. But here's what winners understand. Focusing on the problem keeps you stuck. It drains your energy, your creativity, and your drive. But when you shift your mindset and focus on solutions, doors start opening. Ideas begin to flow. Progress begins to happen. That's how winners operate. They don't deny their struggles. They just refuse to live in them. Your mind is a powerful thing. Whatever you feed it will grow. If you constantly feed it negativity, it'll start looking for more reasons to feel defeated. But if you feed it hope, possibility, and strategy, it'll start finding ways to win. The truth is, there's always a solution if you're willing to look for it. It may not be obvious. It may not be easy. It may take time. But the mindset of a winner says, I will find a way. I will figure it out. I'm not stopping until I do. That kind of attitude moves mountains. That's the energy that breaks through limitations. Think about the most successful people you know. They aren't successful because they never had problems. They're successful because they refuse to stay stuck in them. They train their minds to stay calm under pressure, to think instead of panic, to create instead of complain. They understood that emotion without direction leads to destruction. So instead of reacting to life, they responded with strategy. Winners know how to step back, breathe, assess the situation, and then take action. They don't ignore the problem, they just don't allow it to paralyze them. When you focus on solutions, you take back your power. You stop waiting on someone else to rescue you. You stop blaming your past, your upbringing, your job, or your environment. You say, okay, this is the hand I've been dealt, but how do I play it in a way that works? That mindset separates the leaders from the followers. It turns victims into victors. Because here's the truth: problems don't go away on their own. You either solve them or surrender to them. And winners don't surrender. Every problem you face is actually an invitation to grow. It's an opportunity to think sharper, plan better, move smarter, and become stronger. But if you're too focused on the size of the problem, you'll never tap into the size of your potential. You've got to flip the switch. Instead of saying, I can't, start asking, how can I? That one question shifts your entire perspective. It moves you from hopeless to resourceful. And resourcefulness will take you farther than resources ever will. Now, don't get it twisted. Some problems are hard. Some solutions require sacrifice, time, or changing your habits. But the moment you take ownership and decide to act, you've already begun to win. Winners take initiative. They don't wait for perfect conditions or someone else's permission. They get to work with what they have. They use their minds like tools, cutting through chaos with clarity and vision. And they stay in that zone no matter how tough it gets. You want to start winning in life. Then train yourself to look past the mess and search for the method. Refuse to let your mind camp out in the land of complaints. Wake up every day and decide, I'm going to be a solution finder, not a problem feeder. That's how breakthroughs happen. That's how dreams become reality. Because when you focus on solutions, you take control of your life. And that's the first step toward unstoppable success. At the end of the day, life isn't about what happens to you. It's about how you respond to it. You can either keep whining or start winning. You can stay stuck in excuses, or you can rise up with execution. Winners don't have fewer problems. They just choose a different attitude. They show up with discipline, they face discomfort head on, and they search for solutions while others settle for complaints. If you want to change your life, change your mindset. Stop waiting for easy and start working through the hard. The power to shift everything you're facing lies inside you, but only if you're bold enough to stop whining and start winning. Now's the time. Let's go.